Welcome to another installment of Cracking Open, the podcast brought to you by the Sage Circle. In this series, I interview Sage Circle members to find out about their intuitive journey and development. Today's guest is Amber. Amber talks with us about being a child of a very open and accepting family, yet she still didn't open her intuition until much later in life. She also shares how the words "who cares" can make a massive, powerful shift in your life and how it has in hers. Let's jump into Cracking Open.
This podcast is brought to you by the SAGE Method, the most comprehensive and down-to-earth intuitive development training available. Is this your year? Is it finally your time to increase your intuition, bring in more abundance, and experience the bliss you deserve? If yes, then join thousands of students across the world for a 7-week journey to uncover your natural, beautiful, and strong intuition. Visit us at thesagemethod.com for more information.
Welcome to another episode of Cracking Open the podcast. I am super excited to introduce to you Amber. Hi, Amber. Thanks for being here with me.
Hi, Bo.
I am loving these sessions because I get to have this one-on-one time with circle members, which really fills my heart. Absolutely love it. And every time I jump in, I always want to inquire. My favorite question is, tell me a little bit about what opening intuition was like for you. When did it happen? And give me a little bit of your background.
Well, for me, I didn't grow up in a religious family. I actually grew up in a family who was more open to spirituality as opposed to religion. We'd go to the psychic fair every year. My parents would get psychic readings done. My sister and I would look through the crystals, and if we were really lucky, we got a rose quartz or something that year, and we'd get the little aura photograph and get it read, and all the free stuff we were allowed to do.
Yep.
But my parents would get the psychic readings. So that's kind of the life I grew up in, as it being very normal. And my dad has probably read like 80% of the metaphysical books out there. Like, he's just read everything, and that's all that, that's who he was growing up. I don't think he ever got quite the connection he was looking for. I think he had a lot of doubt that kind of blocked him. But I really feel that him doing what he did has laid the foundation for my sister and I to accept it when we opened up. So, after, like once I got to be an adult and stuff, I kind of put it all behind me. And I didn't really have a spirituality, didn't have a religion. I was just living my life the best I could. And then probably about 5 years ago, no, probably more like 6, I started kind of seeing a few documentaries and stuff that sparked my interest. It kind of started with food. I turned vegetarian at that time. And then those documentaries led me to yoga. And I started yoga as a practice. And I tried meditation at that point, but it didn't really stick for me. I did have a couple visions, honestly. I think it scared me, and I didn't really have any support. So I just kind of moved on. And in all honesty, I had other things I needed to, take care of in my life first. So I went through a difficult divorce, and then 2019 was a big year of healing and self-discovery for me. And that led me near the end of the year to go to Reiki for my first time. And that was like an amazing experience for me. I had a lot of visions during it. They didn't make any sense. But the practitioner I was with talked about learning Reiki, and that she said that level 1 was all about self-healing. And I really liked that idea that I could heal myself like this. So at the beginning of 2020, I kind of made a bucket list of things I wanted to do. Being 2020, most of those didn't happen.
Yep.
There was no traveling, and there was no like big parties or anything like that. But one of the things I wrote on my list was to learn Reiki. Should the universe be able to do it for me? Because when I had looked into it at the beginning or at the end of 2019, the time and money investment was more than I could handle.
Mm-hmm.
But in January of 2020, I decided to do another Google search and ended up finding an online course that was really affordable. And I'm like, what do I have to lose? Like, if it's a bad course, then, you know, I've just lost this little bit of money. But if it's good, then at least I know if I want to go further in it. And it turned out to be an amazing course. And in that course, there's a meditation to meet your spirit guide. And it also comes along with a Facebook group of other people who have taken the course. So even before I got to that point, I would see posts on Facebook about, you know, this meditation, and a lot of people have struggled not seeing anything. Then people say it, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know Reiki was like this. And I was a little bit worried, right?
Yeah.
That it was like all woo-woo stuff, which at this point I'm like so far away from, you know, my childhood that it didn't seem natural to me. It seemed kind of out there. In any case, I got close to the point in the course where it was coming up, and I kind of froze, and I didn't go there. I'm like, nope, not ready. But I'd be doing my self Reiki treatments every night, and this one night I got this vision of a man's face that I've never seen before, and I'm like, whoa, what was that? And then the next night he talked to me, and I realized who it was, because back when I was a kid, my dad must have been reading a book on spirit guides that said something about kids are more connected, and he had me lay down and talk to the voice in my head. And I always thought I made it up. I thought I made it up to please him, to make him happy. I didn't. Because it was the same person. The craziest thing about it is, back when I was a kid and doing it, my dad asked me to ask the voice what his name was. And I came back with the name, the Great One. Which, as a kid, I mean, I knew who the Great One is. It's Wayne Gretzky. He played our rival hockey team. We knew that. But as a kid, I don't know where I would have gotten that. Right? And then when I'm doing my self Reiki treatments, it's the Great One. And I'm like, oh my God, like, that was real. And honestly, it kind of set me into this like shock panic mode. But like in the meditation, when I was in there with him, all he showed me was love of the universe and all this amazing stuff. Like, it was so comforting and so reassuring, and it wasn't scary at all. And he's like, you've been putting off the meditation, do the meditation. I'm like, okay, I'll do the meditation.
I love that.
Yeah, the funniest thing about when I did do the meditation is it's a very drawn out guided meditation, and there's a lot of steps before your guide comes out. Well, he was there right at the beginning. But I'm stubborn, and I'm like, no, you're not supposed to be here. I've got to do this. And he's like, why are we climbing this mountain? I'm right here. We can talk now. I'm like, no. We got to go up the mountain. She says, go up the mountain.
We got to go do this. Got to follow the directions.
Yeah, because my stubbornness comes out. But yeah, and it was wonderful. And he guided me for a couple months. And then I got a new guide after that. And not long after I got my new guide, I found your course, and here I am.
Here you are. That had to be so surreal to have him come in and realize he's been with you your entire life. That episode that you had as a kid was actually real.
Yeah, it was crazy. I couldn't wait to tell my dad. My dad has forgotten all about it. He didn't even remember it, but he's, it's been a lot of years. But yeah, it was a couple of weeks of me kind of going, I don't know how is this real? And somebody's going to lock me up in a padded room somewhere, because clearly I'm going crazy. But then you find support systems, and you realize that other people are having these experiences as well, and it just completely changes your world.
Yeah, That's where the community comes in, and it's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So what's really striking for me is it's very rare that I talk to somebody who had parents that supported a spiritual kind of vibe. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And people say, well, I wish my parents would have. I don't know that it necessarily means that you're going to come out, completely intuitive and thriving in that psychic world like you did not. You were
Yep.
supported by your parents and loved, but then we all have to go out and find ourselves anyway. So the good news though is that you get to come back and have that support once these situations start unfolding for you and these experiences start to happen. You do get to go back and have that support from the family, which is absolutely wonderful.
It is. I'm very lucky, especially like hearing some other people's stories and how, their families did not support it at all and they shunned it and stuff. I'm really, really grateful for the family I have. And like I said, I think my dad's path in this lifetime was to support my sister and I.
Mm.
I really believe that.
That is beautiful. So now, how are you today using your intuition on a daily basis?
I have my practice. I pull a tarot card every day and I GCP, of course. I always have a morning meditation, which is something I've tried many times and never been able to. But now as it is, I'm working from home. So my regular commute time is now my meditation time. And
Nice.
I look forward to it every day.
Nice.
But then throughout my day, I just try to really tune in all the time. And sometimes I just get like a little thought like, oh, I should do this. So I don't question it. I just go and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes it's as simple as like, I need to wear this necklace today.
Yep.
And it doesn't make any sense. And I don't care. Like, I'll just put on the necklace.
I love that you don't care, and I love that you do it anyway. If that isn't an example of a natural flow of intuition, I don't know what is. Do you know what I mean?
I just trust that there's a reason for it. And if there wasn't a reason for it, I'm just wearing a necklace. So it doesn't really change anything, right?
Exactly. And so here you are, you've done Reiki on the course, you're part of the community, and you're listening to your intuition on a day-to-day basis. How would you say your life has morphed or changed as a result of it?
I think it has changed completely. I'm a completely different person now than I was, 4 years ago. I've grown so much, but being in touch with my intuition and having, guidance, communications, that just puts you in a space where you're supported and you can get through it. And even when you're going through tough times, once you get out of that human panic mode, it's going to be okay. Like this is going to lead somewhere. And I don't necessarily need to know what's coming up. Like I've suffered from a lot of anxiety, not knowing and not being able to control certain things. And now it's not nearly as much of an issue.
Yeah.
I know there's stuff I can't control and I don't know what's coming up, but I know it's going to be okay.
That contentment and that peace, that's worth everything. that's worth every necklace you put on, every course you take, every action to take care of yourself. I love it. Absolutely love it. And I love hearing because it's so real. Your story is such a great example of why we work to open our intuition and open up these channels, not to, go out there and be, doing huge readings on stage or anything. No, it's just a part of your natural life. It's just like all the other senses, and you're using it in such a cool way. I love it. I love it. Now you're part of the Sage Circle, and that's got a lot of different components. What part of that feeds you the most?
I mean, I love a lot of it. I love sacred space. It's been really good. I love that all the courses are there. I've got access to, past videos and stuff. Like when I first joined, I just binge watched all of those. Got so much information from them. But I mean, the number one is the support. Like I've had a bit of a difficult week. A couple things have happened. And that little voice in my head goes, post it. Post it on the Sage Circle. And every time I do that, one person just says the exact thing I need to hear.
Yeah.
And to be able to actually do the opposite of that too, is to support and lift up the other members as well. I mean, that's something you just can't get, and it's priceless.
It really is. It really is. I feel so grateful to be a part of it myself, because it's the same thing, to be able to go in there and lift up others lifts yourself up as well. And then there's going to be that day where you need a little lift too.
Yeah.
Not to mention the humor in there. I find that great. That just makes me, I love it. Some of the stuff.
It's a great group of people. There's, other groups you might be a part of, there's people who are negative, and people like everybody on the Sage Circle are just amazing people. And they just we lift each other up, and it's wonderful.
It's so cool to see. It's so cool to see. So here you are. You've had this really open childhood, which is awesome. You go out into the world, have your human stuff like we all do. Now you're back to that intuitive flow. You've got the support from parents. You've got the support from the Sage Circle. If you were to sit down with somebody and give them advice on their spiritual path and their intuitive journey, what advice would you give them?
I know a lot of people struggle with trusting, or like, am I making this up? Am I imagining it? My advice is who cares? Go with it. What is the harm of believing it?
Yeah.
Right. But the harm of not believing it, and it is true, that's worse for me.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, if you're in a situation where, you don't know you're breaking it up and you have to tell somebody that something might hurt them, maybe you don't do that. But if you think you're talking to your deceased grandma and you're not sure if you're making up, who cares? Talk to your deceased grandma. It's helping you. And you're not making it up in any case, right? Like, it's real. But like, once you believe it and once you get into it, you start to see the signs that it is real. Like when I first finished the course, nothing happened for me right away. Like the final exercises and stuff, I did not do well on. And I'm like, maybe this just isn't for me. Maybe I'm not as intuitive as I thought I was. But I'm like, no, I'm going to keep going. And then one day, like a month ago, just like everything started happening. And I'm like, oh my God. But you just have to keep on it and keep trusting. But who cares if you're making it up? Just keep going.
Exactly. It's so many people, including myself originally, I kind of went backwards into it. We don't think it's backwards, but so many people say, well, show me proof, and then I'll believe. And it's like you kind of have to step into the belief, submerge yourself into that, and then the proof starts to come.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't,
absolutely,
who cares? You've lifted your vibration. I love that. I love that. Is like my favorite piece of advice lately. You know what? Who cares? I'm going to put the spectacles on. I'm going to follow this. I'm going to do that. And it's just going to bring joy. And you're right. When you said, it really hit me when you said that you benefit from just saying who cares and moving forward, but you absolutely do not benefit from shutting yourself off from it and not believing. So I love that. Well, this has been incredible. Thank you so much for coming on here with me and sharing your story. It's a unique story for sure, because like we discussed, not a lot of people have that family background that they can rely on. And I am excited for you for stepping into this powerful part of your life.
Well, thank you for everything you do. Like, you've been a huge inspiration to me, and I know many others. Even these podcasts, like I look forward to listening to them every week because they just lift me up.
Oh yeah. And that's all you. I love it. It's you putting your heart out to everyone else, and then everyone putting their heart out. It's an incredible community. Well, thank you, Amber, for being here with me. And thank you so much.
Thank you.